Welcome to Weird Games and Weirder People, a podcast about role-playing games and the weird, wonderful people behind them.
Hello Weirdos, this is Diogo Nogueira, and before I introduce today's guest, I would like to inform you that now Weird Games and Weirder People has a Discord server you can join and talk weirdness, join other weirdos, talk about art, creativity, game design, and everything else and start your weird fancy. You can find the Discord server's link on our show notes, so look there and get weird with us. And for today's guest, we have none other than Jen Brinkman, who I would almost say it's in the unofficial godmother of the DCC community. We talked about life changings, how it is difficult to get used to new routines, about her integral role in the DCC community and now in the DCC operations themselves, how she has a hard time seeing herself as weird. We talked about her work with the Spellburn and the Sanctum-Securum podcast. We talked about the legendary Brinkmanicon. We talked about the Order of Sheena and how inclusivity and being welcome is so important in the DCC community. We talked about the Indie RPG Summit that's going on pretty soon, her relationship with caffeine, how she always tries to remember why she does all this to alleviate stress. We talked about the people that influence her and that has made impact on her, and talk about the balance between work and life and all those weird and wonderful things. We got personal, we got deep, and it was wonderful. I hope you like it as much as we did. It made us think a lot, so I hope you think about this stuff too. So let's get weird with Jen Brinkman. Hello, welcome Jane to the show Weird Games and Weirder People. I'm so happy to have you here. And how have you been, my friend? It's I haven't been since Gen Con, and I already miss you. And yeah,
it's been a crazy year, hasn't it?
Yeah,
I've been
ups
okay.
and downs here. Yeah,
We're acclimating to the weather up in the frigid north of the Fort Wayne area. Having moved from Florida, it's a bit of a change. There's sweaters abound. I would say personally we're good. Professionally, possibly better. So it's a mixed bag, and I think Bob and I are both getting used to the new routines and everything. I haven't had a job where I had to commute for about 20 years.
yeah. Routines changing really shakes things up, right?
I do still get to work remotely once in a while, but at the time of this recording, it is post Black Friday, and a lot of people want their stuff, man.
Yeah, I imagine. I would love to be able to partake in that. I had so many stuff like this. DCC 100 finally came out. I'm seeing pictures. Wow. Yeah.
Yes.
I hope there's some bags left next time. Some box left next time I go to Gen Con or something. Because,
yeah. Of number 100?
Yeah.
If only you knew someone who could hold something aside for you.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah.
And I only make the offer rarely. Yeah. You know that.
Yeah. Thank you very much. And how about this climate? I would say climate change, but that's something else. But how was this acclimating to this change in the weather that you're getting used to? Because Florida, I feel Florida kind of resembles the climate we have here in Brazil. It's kind of warm and humid.
It's much more equatorial there, yes.
Yeah.
Very tropical. Up here, it is.
Do you like the cold or the warm?
It's hard to say. Oddly enough, I like the humidity. The dry is a real change for a lot of health aspects. I mean, asthma's nothing to hide, right?
Yeah.
It actually did so much better when we moved originally from the desert to the tropics. I was so much better. So taking some extra steps here to mitigate that. But it's also very, frigid, cold, dry, gray, very gray today. It's like glare out the window.
Yeah.
On days when we have sun, our house actually has an indoor patio sort of area. So with a lot of skylights. If it's
Yeah,
sunny,
I remember
it
the
doesn't
picture.
matter
Yeah,
if it's
it's
only like
beautiful.
20 degrees outside.
Yeah,
The patio ends up being like 60. It's amazing.
yeah.
So on sunny
And
days, I love to stay home.
yeah,
I
and
mean,
it's
work
beautiful because
remotely.
you can see more colors, right? It's more vivid. Yeah, I remember there was
Yeah.
this comic video of this guy living in UK, and all of a sudden there is the sun, and then whoa, what is this yellow ball in the sky? What is this? Yeah,
Yeah. We call it the extended catio because it goes the length of the house and the cats can actually run off some energy that way.
yeah.
And
And how
another,
did you? Yeah,
oh, go ahead.
sorry. I would ask you, how did you dealt with the routine change? Like you said, you had to commute now because in the beginning of the year here with us, we had a big routine change with the kid moving, and it was really draining. And I don't know if you remember commenting with you that I even thought I would never write RPGs again because I was
Oh
exhausted with all the
no.
changes. And I
Oh,
would ask you, how was routine changing for you and Bob and
uh, we're both getting used to being early risers, and I don't think
oh,
either of us is super happy about it. It also means we get curmudgeonly and we have to go to bed at like 9 or 10 p.m. So late night podcasts are like, oh, it's a good thing I love you people.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
But getting used to it and driving into the sunrise, I still smile every time I'm driving around. It's
yeah,
not an exciting vista to drive through. I mean, corn, really, but it there's just all these things. Like in Florida, I would say the wildlife and the scenery are beautiful. It's the people I can't stand, and yeah, the economy really. It's a lot easier to live out here.
yeah,
There's a lot less stress financially, I would say. Um,
yeah.
but it's nice though. People are nice out here. People are friendly. It doesn't matter where you're from, what
Really?
side of the fence you're on. Oh, yeah, I mean, just walk into any old gas station and they embrace you like family. It's kind
Wow.
of bizarre.
Yeah. I had this idea. I don't know that warmer places had warmer people for some reason, because South American countries, they always say, "Oh, people are so welcoming." I can go to you know places that are hot and people are so welcoming, and you go to more colder places like Europe or like the Scandinavian countries, or even New York. That's cold. People are like really more you know reserved, like personal space and etc. And you were so welcoming, and you lived in Florida, so I associated, well, of course it's hot there, so people are like warmer. And
I mean, to be fair, I also lived in a smaller town in Florida. And it seems like in my life, I keep moving to smaller and smaller places. And the town we're in now is, I mean, we're not in Fort Wayne specifically. We're in a smaller town, and I think that has a lot to do with it. I mean, even in Fort Wayne, people aren't totally standoffish, but you can definitely feel the difference between a city and a small town.
yeah, yeah, it makes sense. Especially in city, people are always busy and rushing around, and
Oh,
but
yeah.
it's for me it's a hard balance too, because in cities people are also more cosmopolitan, say, but they are more accepting of diversity. And sometimes in small towns, people think that their reality is the entire reality of the world, and that can be sometimes problematic.
Totally
So
fair point.
it's hard to
There has
balance.
there have been a couple of, shall we say, used bookstores that we've popped into, and all we can do is say amen and back our way out. You know.
Yeah. So, Jen, we've been talking for a while now. and haven't properly introduced you. But what I like to do is ask the people that come here who really know who they are, says who they are, what they do, and if they can share just a small weird detail about them, some the way they do coffee, or how we like our cats so much, or something like this, and
Okay, so you
yeah,
want one weird fact. Okay. I'm
yeah.
going to have to narrow that down.
We can sprinkle them throughout the show as we talk about other stuff. Yeah, just a teaser.
All right. So, hi, I'm Jen Brinkman. I am currently the operations manager for Goodman Games. And I got there after about 11 years of being a chief acolyte for DCC RPG, starting from fan to editor to line editor, and then managing a couple of the departments within Goodman Games as the company continued to grow. On the side, I'm also a co-host of the Spellburn podcast, which was the first podcast dedicated to Dungeon Crawl Classics. And I'm also part of Sanctum-Securum, which brings Appendix N to DCC and your game table. There's the Sanctum-Securum reading room, which is less game-oriented and more just diving into the book and the authors and Appendix N adjacent. So I think my favorite so far has been Gertrude Barrows Bennett, who predates Lovecraft and created the dark fantasy. Let's see, what else? We also have Sanctum-Securum Live. Yes, there's a lot of Sanctum projects. In fact, next Saturday, we're going to be interviewing Michael Moorcock again, so that's exciting. He's the last living Appendix N author.
Yeah.
Other weird facts. I'm currently kitty mommy to 4 black kitties, and I'm going to stick with one of the lines from my original intro to the G+ days and just keep your damn hands off my dice, please.
Oh yeah. Do you really have just a specific set of dice that's used for all games, or do you like each game has your own and nobody can touch them, or how does that work? Just one specific set, or any dice?
All of them. all of them. All of them are mine. Some of them are on loan to well, some of them are shared. Like the DCC tubes, they're household. I've gotten much more lax about it than I was in the past, and that's mainly because I know not everybody has a D16, and sadly, a few D16s have gone astray because we've been lax.
Yeah. I know how that feels like when we lose like a die, one of the sets. Like you still can use it, but like, I'll miss this one. Like I had this D1 ring dice set that comes with a D12 and 6 D6, and I lost one, so I have 5. You can still do everything, but there's missing one. So yeah. But what is the fear of like people grabbing your dice? Because one thing that I hate about my players is that they don't like to use my dice because they think that the GM dice, the referee dice, are cursed. So like we play, for example, D1 ring, we have beautiful customized dice that I bought for everybody to play. Like I bought multiple sets because I wanted everybody can play with the beautiful dice, but they don't play with it because they think it's the GM dice. GM dice are cursed. We are using our regular D12s and D6s, and we will convert the numbers to the symbols, whatever. What's your fear with your dice?
There's definitely a red D20 that is currently in Bob's collection that could probably do with a good meeting with a sledgehammer. And he inherited it from a prior DM of ours back in our Vegas days. Yeah, you know who you are. For the rest of them, it's more of a... I watch people, and I watch people do things like not wash their hands when they come out of the bathroom, and get your cooties off my dice. I don't want to have to sanitize my dice every time I pull them out. Get your Cheetos, cheese puffs, dust off my dice. All that stuff.
Yeah. That's true. Yeah. I've I put my books in Ziplocs. I'm all paranoid of that stuff. I am a collector, and you put the books on the table because I like to use the books on the table. That's where they're made for, and especially now, all these books have so many useful stuff to actually use on the table, not just to you memorize the setting and put it on the shelves. But yeah, wash your hands. You're gonna play. Wash your hands. We have like
Exactly.
miniatures, we have dice, we have character sheets that like I like to print in nice paper. So like those character sheets with those grease stains. Terrible. Don't do this. Yeah.
And it's just from one dude who dropped something in the ranch and it splattered everywhere. Yeah. I think we all have those.
Yeah. We usually we play when we used to play at home. We would play like for an hour and a half, 2 hours, and then we'd stop, eat, and then clean everything, and then go back and play for 1 hour or whatever to finish the session. Yeah, but not during the game because
I miss
I miss it so much.
I miss the Brinkmanicons too. We would hold mini cons under our roof.
Yeah.
At the house in Florida, we actually had space for 5 different game tables. Of course, it was all on one floor too, so things were much more copacetic. But I would ask for maybe $10 up front at the door, and there's 3 game slots, and between games 2 and 3 there is a dinner slot. And I would feed up to 30 people.
Yeah, that's
it felt good to be like group mom like that.
That's what I said. Like you're a community leader, like example, like a banner for DCC, and like for the kindness there is the DCC community. I think having someone like you, like promoting the game, like you said, like a chief acolyte, and being so welcome and so like, as you said, like this mommy spirit, just welcoming, embracing everybody, and making sure everybody feels comfortable and safe. Like you helped build this community of women that run DCC, that plays DCC, that embrace everybody, and it's something that I know. My wife had problems with other communities and not feeling welcome to them, and seeing this effort in DCC is beautiful to see. And the Brinkmanicon, it's another example of like welcoming and like friends you made through the game, and like I never was able to go, but I was able like to make some art for it, and then you sent me shirts, and then I felt part of it in some way.
Thank you so much.
And even though I could never be there in physically, I was certainly there in spirit, and I wish I could be there next time you do this again, because I'm sure how you and Bob are, how you are always welcoming and making this grow and be something bigger than just a game. I know for certain you're figuring out something that you probably embrace more people and build this family around you. That's I don't know. It's
we've got to start from the ground up again and building a local community. But we've done it before, so we can do it again.
Yeah. I'm sure it's. I feel it's almost inevitable. It's not almost. You just will build it the way you treat people when you meet them, and this will happen. Almost like if you want it or not. I feel like this will happen.
We'll get there.
So Jane, one thing I like to ask people here, I was just talking to you before we started recording, how we see the weird here, that it's something in a good way, and DCC is kind of a really good expression of a beautiful and good weird way to be weird.
Yes.
But I would like to hear from you. For you, what is the definition of weird, and why do you seek it in the DCC, in your work, and even in your life?
Okay, weird. I don't know that weird would translate to my life, at least coming at it from a personal perspective. I was always the little goody two shoes. I was, I if you were ever to describe vanilla, that would probably be me, at least as far as most people would know. Um,
Jane,
and
you had a music band that dressed like pirates and sang a jangle. That's like, come on. Uh,
uh, okay, we
yeah,
did perform at Renaissance fairs for over 25 years with
yeah.
our group. Um,
I mean,
yeah, that's like
we
a different,
sometimes
that's a past
we,
life, you know?
but we don't see sometimes we don't see ourselves as weird, but others will see us as like even being a good to shoes. Like my son's like super kind and gentle and follow the rules, but people see him as weird because people don't do this. The majority of people
Okay,
are
that's
just
fair.
winging it out there, just being cows
Okay.
incarnated. He has problem during like recess because kids are all playing around and he just wants to sit down and
Read a
do
book?
his stuff. Yeah, play
Yes,
with his
yes,
stuff. Yes,
yes.
that's
You can
it.
actually spend quality time with your loved
Yeah,
ones with your nose stuck in a book and your best friend sitting on the same couch on the other
yeah.
end
Oh,
with
playing
her
with
stuck in a book.
Legos, playing with Legos, and he likes to build stuff and,
Yes,
and play with toys and build, and yeah, and all these people running. That's the
yeah.
majority, and he's
And
kind of good to choose, and for people he's really weird, right? So
so, as
yeah,
far as calling DCC weird, I would say primarily because it's not D&D, right? It's not the norm that everybody is used to,
yeah,
which by itself makes it weird.
yeah,
I think to take it a step beyond that to the community aspect, at least in my experience, nobody in the community is sitting there breaking down DCC and just negatively attacking it for its rule set or its paradigm or any of that. It's always supportive. Oh, you want to run it? Here, sure, go ahead. Oh, you want to learn this rule? Sure, let me teach you. I mean, it's always been open, and that is part of what has influenced my own approach to it. I mean, y'all can thank Harley Stroh for being the very first person on Google Plus to welcome me to the group. And I mean, that was after Troy introduced me and said, "Hey, you should go to this group, especially if you want to run the game. And they've got a lot of like tips and tricks." And boy, did he underestimate or understate what G Plus had to offer. Ugh, we all miss it. Um,
yeah. And Harvey is the sweetest too, right?
uh,
Yeah, he's another symbol of the community and really
yeah.
inspiration as a referee for me and a writer, and yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
yeah. Despite where I am now, like on a professional level, I will forever be a fangirl, and I think the world knows it. Like he and Bob are my favorite judges ever. So,
yeah.
no offense to
It's
anyone
so
else.
much.
It's just, you know,
Yeah,
the way things are.
it's personal stuff. Yeah, yeah, it's people that connected with us in some ways, especially as you said, it's someone that uh, pointed you somewhere in the community and made a real impact of you, and it's sometimes even not. Oh, he knows the most stuff. That's someone that really connected and impacted us. It's really what it
Yes,
is, right? Yeah,
very much so. And to continue taking DCC out of the norm, uh, back in, was it 2017, the year of Gen Con 50? Uh,
yeah,
somebody had
yeah. I
asked,
think it was. Yeah,
someone asked at one point, so are these the ladies of DCC? And my initial knee jerk response was absolutely not. Because we had taken a photo of 6 of the women running DCC that year, and they ranged in ages from 11 to 50. And okay, well, do we split out and make the kids of DCC? I said no, because the last thing they want to do is be treated coddled. They don't want to be talked down to. They want to sit at the big kids table. They want to be treated like everyone else at the gaming table. And so we came up with the Order of Sheena, with Sheena being the character of the band, created by Doug Kovacs and all of his art. She's got her own cover on the DCC book now as of the 7th printing, and
she's badass. Yeah,
you can see in the illustrations her evolution, and that's kind of how I saw the Order of Sheena. And Joan Troyer has taken over the Order of Sheena podcast, or started it, my bad. She started that, and to me, it's not just about women, though. It's about anyone who isn't middle-aged Caucasian guy, because that is what so many people are used to seeing running a game. And even the 5e podcasts that are super, super popular, the person running it is most likely a middle-aged white guy. And that's great for them if that's their thing. It's not ours.
No.
So that's kind of where we kicked off with that. And so now anytime someone comes and sits at our table that buck that system, whether they're younger or of a different creed, or dare I say race, or gender, or even transgender, hi, if you're interested in this game, we will be more than happy to help you run it. And congratulations, you're now an honorary member of the Order of Sheena.
That's fantastic. And how would someone that was some weirdo that's listening to this would be able to contact the Order of Shannon and then be able to learn how to get into it and then learn the game and then maybe play with someone?
Fantastic question. Fantastic question, Diogo. And we'll be sure to get you some notes for your show notes, because I need to memorize the link. I think Jen has it on Podlink. I'm not 100% sure. I know I've got the I know I have the link. I don't have it memorized.
Yeah, well, fantastic. Yeah, I would like something else in the show notes, like the author you mentioned for Sanctum-Securum, that the creator of Dark Fantasy. You can send me like the name proper so I can like post on the show notes. This kind of stuff that we mentioned, if you can remember. I'm taking some notes, but
absolutely.
that kind of stuff helps. Yeah. And
so Spellburn.net and Sanctum.media would be the two podcast links.
Oh yeah,
and of course
those I know for sure. Yeah.
those are all airing. We have live seasons now on the Goodman Games official Twitch channel.
Oh yeah.
Which is kind of cool, because it helps us reach a different generation of audiences.
Yeah, that's another fantastic thing. Like what DCC does is, as you said, like the openness and embracing things, and how DCC, not only the community that supported DCC is now supported by DCC itself. They embrace it, put it on their official channel. That road trip, the world tour program that they give stuff for free, that running the game for the GMs to give for free for the players. It's something that I don't see any other game, and it's something that makes me wonder, how aren't everybody doing this?
It actually has been copied. I shouldn't say copied, but that crew mentality has been brought into one other publisher that I know of for sure. And the same sort of thing, they'll send you swag and goodies for your players if you're running public games. And I can't even give them a side eye for it, because it works and it's been proven to work. So why not?
Yeah, it's not only about working. It's a really a way for creating a community. It's a really say, thank you for playing my game. I would love to be able to do this, like with my games, like sending maybe small dinosaurs to people for playing Primal Quest and this stuff. It's
I love that.
it's not only a fantastic way to like making people I don't know how to say fidelity, like to be feel
They feel valued and they feel a
yeah,
little
feel
bit of
valued, connected to the
brand
game,
loyalty.
and yeah, loyalty. Yeah, that's like brand loyalty and loyalty to the game, to the community. And it's not only about that; it's really about saying thank you and people, yeah, feel valued and say these people really care that we're playing their game. It's not only
Mhm.
we're just putting products out there and just buy my shit. They're really, uh, you
Yeah.
know, it's feel like it's an indie game. Like it's an indie game, like too. Like we are so happy to see people playing our games, and it's a really way to showing that, and it makes people appreciate the game even more and appreciate people that are playing with them, and seeing the, as you said, like as Harley was an example for you. The game itself, the company itself, is an example for the community, which is it's
Yeah.
something uh, that's really rare to see. Like you see companies being exactly the opposite of an example, and sometimes it's better to don't look into the company. You know,
Well,
if you
I
like the game,
mean,
play the game, but if Goodman Games, it's
yeah,
different. You know,
it is.
and
It is. And it's absolutely floored me on the backside of things to see how many hundreds of third party products have sprouted out over the
uh,
past, what, 11, 12 years. And I mean, if you look at it, all the podcasts are typical, or not typically, technically speaking, we are third party products as well.
yeah,
Spellburn is a
yeah,
third party, Sanctum is a third party. Um, and if I can shamelessly promote a corporate thing for just a second, we have the Indie RPG Summit coming up in
yeah,
January. I think
yeah,
it's the
yeah,
8th through 10th, like Monday, Tuesday,
yeah.
Wednesday.
Yeah, I'll
Um,
certainly put in show
yeah,
notes. People have to check it out. I will
yeah.
certainly get a ticket. It's a lot of fantastic people
Days
for
1 and 2
all.
are free,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
day 3 has some really special kickbacks for the
yeah.
low price of admission for
50
it.
bucks. Yeah,
Backer Kick has
yeah,
turned out to be one heck of a sponsor on it.
yeah.
And I'll be
And if you get
speaking
it,
there as
you
well.
can watch for 1 year, right? You can watch it. You can get.
Something like that. Yeah, they'll be saved and archivable
Yeah,
for a year, I
yeah,
think. Um, I don't pretend to know the entirety of the the back
yeah, yeah,
end of this, the IT schematics and everything. I just know that hey, I'll be talking about bringing new
yeah,
stuff to conventions. So
yeah.
that's kind of how I got the official foot in the door. I was representing Goodman Games at their cons for what, 6 years before I was hired, so working at their booths and everything. So
Yeah.
it's retail's in my blood, so it was a nice change from doing the performances and everything. Diogo, I'll be honest with you, I never wanted to be on stage.
Really?
I never wanted to be a DM or a GM or a judge. I never, I enjoyed performing with a group. I never stood up for a solo part in school. When I started looking at what I wanted to do professionally, I was looking at backstage and like the recording and engineering part of, geez, I studied the MIDI, I studied, all of the behind the scenes stuff. I never wanted the microphone in my face. And then I met this guy that was the opposite of a wallflower, and I had to step up my game a little. So here I am. He hasn't been able to shut me up since.
Wow. Yeah. And how do you still have this instinct to get out of the stage, like you were running the game? Do you feel anxious before? Because that's something that happens to me. Like
Um,
every time I'm even like recording the podcast, I get nervous sometimes. Got this feelings of,
oh,
oh, maybe they will cancel and I will be okay, and or maybe I'm gonna play and it's reading too much, maybe I'll say I won't go. And it's not reading that much, I just the anxiety, I don't know. But once I get there, it's fine. I
No,
love
no.
talking to you. I love talking to people and creators. But I always have this. Oh no! I hope
Yep.
I don't have to do this. You have that
And
too, right?
every single time I still get butterflies. Every
Yeah,
single time. I mean, 20 some years performing on stage. Once in a very long span, I would just kick it and say, all right, let's do this thing. We're going out there, we're doing it. And I screw up. I
really.
fall flat on my face, or I completely forget the words to the song I'm supposed to be singing. You know, when I become overconfident, I screw it up. So I am always nervous. And when it comes to like Gary Con, it's such a small, welcoming little circle, and okay, I'll run something off books. And then it's an hour later and everyone's saying, well, when are we starting? And I'm like, well, we don't have these other people that were supposed to be here, and I don't really know if I want to do this. And I do the same thing as you, Jogo. Same
Yeah,
exact thing. It's a curse.
yeah.
It really is,
Especially,
because once I
yeah,
get into it, I know I'm gonna have fun. You
yeah.
know,
Especially those
especially
when.
if you have
Yeah,
the right people, they will make the table fun for you. You just
yeah,
have to stand up and tell them to roll dice. Honestly,
yeah, yeah.
those are my
For me,
favorites.
especially those like impromptu and conventions, and you meet some people. Oh, Jogo, run this for us. Like yeah, instead of oh no, I have to. Yeah,
You
I
get
have to.
very, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. No, I'm
I have to
right
run
there
away.
with you,
But
friend.
yeah, yeah, I have to get in that state of mind to calm down. Say no, this will be great, and then
It'll be
uh,
great. They want it.
yeah,
You want it.
yeah,
It's
yeah,
cooperative storytelling. You don't even have to have a plot. I
yeah.
mean, DCC
That's what.
Landmark is still my favorite because you could just start off with
Yeah.
random rolls on the carousing chart.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Like you said, you didn't want to be like soloing anything. You always prefer like a band, and then like being a referee, uh, especially like before 2010s and 12s. I always
Mhm.
felt like the referee was like this solo performer that had like to entertain everybody. But like
Yeah,
slowly, we have been changing this idea, and it's really more like a band. Like maybe uh, the GM's like the drummer that sets the tone and the rhythm. Uh, but everybody is out there to shine. And who is out there to shine? It's the people in the front. Like the guitar, the bassist.
exactly.
The
You're the
vocals. So
engineer. You just have to plug in the amp once in a while.
yeah, and you're there like playing with them, but they're the ones doing back in the front. So it's kind of collaborative in a way. So maybe it's a easier way to see this, and it made me think. Maybe this will help me too, like get less nervous and thinking, oh yeah, I'm not responsible for this. I'm just the drummer, and I was the drummer. I was to play the drums, so that's
That
a nice
works.
way
That
to see.
works.
Yeah, yeah.
And every now
Thank
and
you.
then
Yeah,
you have to improv and keep them on their toes. But otherwise, yeah, they know where they're going. Well, okay, they may not know where they're going. Their dice tell them where they're going.
yeah.
Some of my favorite games ended up being at Brinkmanicon when we had nothing planned for two or three people who decided to stay late because, it's pulling teeth to get people to sign up to play games or run games.
Yeah.
And so I said, fine, we'll just sandbox something. And I used three questions, courtesy of Brendan LaSalle, game designer.
Mhm.
Uh, what's the name of your town? Uh, what's the last job you did? And who sent you on it? So I asked for these three pieces. And all right, let's go. So this is the name of your town, but this is the job you're doing. You are give me a luck check. Yeah, you totally failed this job, and now you've got to go back to Miss So-and-so and let her know that you failed and go. And I mean, they drew the map for me. They figured out what they wanted to do, where they wanted to go, and I just added some atmosphere. And I did not pick up a single die that night.
Wow. Yeah.
I mean, those are the
Yeah.
magic moments, right?
Yeah, it's fantastic. It's remember something that my friend came up to you. I don't know if you remember because you edited it. Sharp Sword and Sinister Spells had like a adventure title generator to
Mm-hmm.
generate an adventure title like the Revenge of the 1,000-Eyed Sorcerer. So that was the name of the adventure you just finished and you're coming back. So it's like remember what you did last adventure. So that's and it starts telling you what you did and they'll come back if they fail or not. It's similar to what you did. Like there's some tests if they fail or not, and they just playing the continuation of the thing they did before, kind of similar in this way. And they just incorporate the like some generator to help you inspire in some way, you know. And when you do those questions, do people always have a easy time answering them? Because sometimes some players are, I don't know how to,
I mean, the name of the town, I can say after doing this a couple of times, the youngest
what's in
person.
Brinkmanicon? Yeah,
No,
people
the
are always
youngest person
playing,
at the
right?
table usually comes up with the silliest idea, and that's almost you can almost plan on that. But yeah, the jobs that they've been on, they'll kind of talk amongst themselves and come back to us, or come back to the judge. Uh, Sometimes they'll throw a couple ideas back and forth across the table,
Yeah,
and okay, so that's what we're going with. Okay, those are the 3 things I'm writing down.
yeah.
That's it.
That's a
Let's
fantastic
go.
technique too. Yeah. That should be on the show notes too. Yeah. And then that's Harley, you said, right?
No, that
Harley
was
Strode
Brendan.
too? No.
That was Mr.
Brendan
LaSalle.
Lassan.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Brendan
He
Lassan.
has, through a weird series of events, I ended up winning the auction for his first notebook with all of his game ideas. And
Wow.
I kid you not, he would show up to a convention with stats for 2 or 3 characters, like NPCs or monsters, and that was it. Maybe a couple of notes about the uh, the kickoff of an adventure. But that's how he runs so many of his playtests. He doesn't have things written out ahead of time. He doesn't flesh them out on paper and run them from that. And so
Wow.
I have taken that to heart. I have like 2 or 3 Lankmar characters that are my go-to for whatever adventure they come up with. You know, they're going to build the adventure for me. Okay, so this is when you meet not alchemist. Shoot, I always stumble on the word too. The apothecarist.
Herbalist? Apothecarist. Yeah.
The apothecarist. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
That's a hard word. Yeah.
even years after doing this, yeah. So I know who your apothecarist is. I know what the name of the pub is that you're going to eventually go to. I know the name of the brothel and the proprietors of both. You know.
Yeah. What's
So
your
here's a city map.
familiar with your tools? Yeah.
Yeah.
And the game has a lot of tools for you to use too, so it's
Oh yeah.
very intuitive. Yeah.
Yeah.
Jen,
Yeah.
do you have any kind of ritual for when you go to work, when you do the job, or when you record your podcast? Anything that helps you getting in the work moods or like in the creative mood for even GM or playing? What I'm asking, like, do you have any rituals for doing the stuff that you do?
Caffeinate. I mean, obviously, right? All hail smuggler's coffee. Sorry.
Yeah.
No, on game days when I'm running, I require at least 4 shots of espresso, if not more. It gets to the point where during convention days, certain people know my standing order and will just surprise me at the table. Even when we were running at our FLGS in Florida, people that I didn't expect to show up would show up with latte in hand. And God bless you all. Caffeine really, really helps. In fact, one of my first free RPG days coincided the morning that we were leaving the house. We got news of the death of somebody that had been a dear, dear friend since I was like 13. And that was an 8-shot day. And it still barely got me through half the day. But I became functional and I could roll with it and I could put on my performance face, which, as we just discussed, running games is performing. It's improv and it's that thing that's going to tie your tummy up. Aside from that, it really depends on the setting. Like, is it a con game? How many pre-gens do I need? You always hit purple sorcerer. Always. Do I have dice? Do I have my own dice? Do I have loaner dice? Do I have some sort of graph paper to write on? Not to make maps. I don't map. That is a weakness of mine that I have embraced, and I just let other people do it for me now. But I always
for a
prefer graph
podcast,
paper to
for
write on.
example,
What's that?
for the podcast, for example, do you have anything you do before, the way you prepare, or how do you get to the mood? Do you prepare your voice in some way, or for the Twitch? Do you have
I'm
any?
really bad on that. I don't. I try to review the show notes, within an hour or two of the show, even if I wrote them a week ago. Because everybody's bringing something else to the table and you want to make sure you're not stepping on everybody else's toes. For the evening podcasts, maybe less caffeine. Because, dude, I gotta go to work early in the morning. I gotta be up before sunrise, and this sucks. No, honestly, it's just a matter of sitting there and taking a quiet minute. Even Bob knows at this point, I need a minute to myself. I can't be completely surrounded by people or by noise or by the TV or by anything on my screen. I just need to sit there for a minute, chill the hell out, and then, all right, now we can do this.
Yeah.
I'm
It's
kind
a
of the
moment
same way going to work too.
It's
Leave me alone for a minute.
moment of stillness. Yeah.
Let me put my
We
bag
kind of
down. Yeah.
we kind of need these moments of stillness sometimes, just to gather first in order and prepare to face whatever is in front of us. And it's very important for people that solve problems, creative, and as you are as yourself, creating all these new solutions, and for the podcast and for the community. So I think it's very important, and then I don't know, to help us engage with the world and clear our minds.
And remind yourself why you're doing it. It's not a
Yeah,
job. You're
yeah,
here, you're doing this because you like it. Do you remember why you like it? Do you remember what it does for
yes,
all of these people? Remember the feedback that you've gotten over the years. Remember that this is not wasted time.
yeah. Do you have any techniques to do that? Do you have anything that you do? For example, I've learned it through books that I read, that I screenshot nice things people say about me, like I say in a folder, and like in those dark days that always seems pointless, and this kind of helps you remember that you've touched someone, you connected with someone, and then this is important in some way, and not only that, but like remember why you do this. Like even for like Primal Quest that I want to develop, I sometimes have to remember how I love this and making an effort to stay in love with the game, because I always like drifting into I want to do a new game and a new game and a new game, and you know, so
You got to keep
you have
the
something.
brain weasels in check. Yeah.
Yeah,
I, I started. No, let me rephrase that. I impulsively did that once. I went back through a Twitch feed. I think it was the goodies from 2 years ago or something, where some silly comments were made, and I took like a lot of awards or something, and it's great because it's my last year of eligibility because now I'm an employee, right? For the Goodman Games annual
yeah,
awards, and it's all fine and dandy to sit there and screen cap things. I'll tell you, I rarely look back on them. I have so many things clogging up my visual feed and my list of things to do that I never get back to that. But
yeah,
there's one thing that I had hanging on the wall of my desk before we moved. I said, I have to put it back up. I'm not fully moved back in yet. I don't have all of my furniture assembled yet. But it said, we burn out because we forget why we do it. So remember why we do it. Paraphrasing, something to that effect.
yeah,
And so glancing at that, having that within eyesight range, within the periphery of my monitor helps a lot.
yeah,
And
yeah,
sometimes I'll admit, if it's a really dark day, I scoff at it and what the hell ever. And other days, like my dad passed right before COVID, right as COVID was hitting. And I'm upfront about it now. There's like a year and a half. I don't remember. I'm pretty sure we did some podcasts in that time. I think. It's all kind of blank to me. But now as I
yeah,
go in, I look at like the warehouse around me, and anytime I steer the pallet jack wrong, right? Yeah, all right, Dad, quit laughing at me, things like that. Um, I at one point had his little name tag right on top of my monitor, so just remembering, no, I actually can do this. I I am my father's daughter. I will kick this thing. Yes, let's do this.
yeah, yeah.
So I've
I,
always been more pragmatic and more type A and less spiritually driven, less artistically driven. Even when helping create on the creation side of games, it's always with a red pen, right? It's always logic and perfectionism. It needs to be good. It needs to be right. It's going out as a product I believe in. It needs to be perfect. And I'm trying to lessen all of that a little bit. I'm still a work in progress. There's always room for improvement, right? I need to be less emphatic in some areas. I need to let things go in some areas, and I need to say progress over perfection. It doesn't
yeah,
have to be perfectly aligned
yeah,
with the kerning and the spacing and it's there. It's good enough. If you don't stop, it's never going to get out. It needs
yeah.
it needs to go out. It's a beautiful thing. It needs to be seen by people. Let it go.
That's a great phrase that I read recently that says, uh, "A imperfect project that you finish it's better than a perfect a project that you never finish."
Yep.
So that's
Yep.
something to keep in mind, and something that remember why you did this. It's something that I do too. That sometimes I get caught up in oh, it's the game's selling, is people gonna like this and stuff like this. And I always start to remember, no, I'm doing this because that's something I want to do. It's the game that I like.
Yes.
I'm doing this for myself. I like creating, because I started getting like into, oh, I haven't published in a while. It's too late. It's not selling.
No,
It's
don't
not
ever
being
think that.
produced, and because sometimes the world makes you believe that you need awards and you need like recognition, and
Hmm.
sometimes you forget that you just love creating this, and it's the same thing with not only this, but with enjoying time with the people that we love. That, like, as you were
Hmm.
saying about your father, why we're doing this, why I'm doing this. I have a family, and sometimes because of my hyper focus that is gaming, sometimes I got myself just thinking about gaming all the time, and I'm right by the people that I love, and I'm not really there, and I have to. Yeah, I'm not here just to do game, because during the pandemic, as you said, we would spend like an after your father passed away, like a time that you barely forgot, and like life passed by, right? And I remember during the pandemic too, like I was having problems with my wife and my kids, and for a year was really bad. I made a lot of stuff. I wrote 5 games. My
Wow.
hyper focus was, but I wasn't connecting with anyone. And then 2021 came, and almost everything broke apart, but we managed to work through it, and now we're better than ever, But uh,
It's
you
hard
know,
to
yeah,
balance. Balance is such a tough
yeah,
word. You want to be left brain, right brain, right? You want to create, but you also
yeah.
need to take care of the normal day to day and the monotony and the chores and the
And it's
kid
good
and
for you.
the family and the work
It's
and the
good for you. Yeah, it's
yes.
great for you. But we
But
forget sometimes. Yeah.
it's hard. It is really hard, and it takes focus. And for all of these people, myself included, who are realizing, oh, neurodivergency is actually just an everyday thing now. It is what it is. You have good days, you have bad days.
Yeah.
So as long as the bad days, I'll put a word of unsolicited advice out there. You have bad days. That's fine. Embrace it. Say, okay, today's going to be a bad day. Clearly I am focusing in the wrong direction. So I guess we're going in this direction today. Because the more you fight it and try to pull yourself back over to the right side, I have to do this. Well, clearly my brain wants to be over here today, and it's actually going to be productive if I let it. Let it. Get back over there tomorrow. Because if you let your brain go in that other direction and you're productive with it, you will have that sense of fulfillment. You'll have the sense of accomplishment at the end of the day. Okay, now that side of your brain is quiet for a minute. Now we can take care of this other stuff. Otherwise, it's going to be just push and push and push back and forth, and you're not going to get a damn thing done. And you're going to feel like crap at the end of the day. And ask me how I know.
Yeah. Yeah.
I, there are days even when I have to go on site to the warehouse. I'm there are days I'm not feeling it. I am absolutely not there one bit. So change direction. Maybe do this other thing that has been put off or has been pushed to the back burner because of, employee restrictions or lack of manpower, for lack of better words. Hey, yeah, if I put myself totally into this for 2 or 3 hours, then yes, I'm absolutely ready to go do this other stuff for the last half of my day.
Yeah. For sure. And sometimes that's will even help you let your brain rest, or even have ideas to deal with the problem
Mm-hmm.
you're not ready to do in that moment. So that's
I,
something
I
very
sound
good
like
to
I
do
feel
too.
so
Yeah.
hollow when I say this. I feel like I sound like a really bad podcaster giving
Why?
advice.
No, wow. It's great
I
because
just,
you know what's that
I mean,
advice?
it's out there,
Our
right?
advice is it's self help. Honestly, we're saying stuff for our past selves. Sometimes this can help someone else. Sometimes not. And as you're saying, like discovering neurodivergence, I got diagnosed with autism too, like my kids. And for me, this hyper focus, if I have to take some control of it, otherwise it's all consuming.
Hmm.
You said sometimes for me it goes and flows, but for me, I feel that I sometimes have to back away because otherwise I'm gonna stay making RPGs and forget everything exists. So yeah. But one days I have to do with this. It's criticism that lets me work on that every day. I get to do what I love every day, but just like in small bites. But I feel that accomplishments because I can mark there in my calendar that I did something today. So I
Hmm.
I feel some sense of accomplishment. And over time it mounts up. And I feel sometimes that's better for me at least than burning all out and making everything at once and then get super tired.
Yes. Yes.
And then yeah, another phrase that helps me is like consistency is better than intensity. And
Hmm.
that's what helps me
Yeah.
work on my thinking, on my rhythm, and not get like overtaken by it in some way.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
And yeah, I will say your games and the ideas behind them are so inspirational, but I'm still a sucker
Thank
for
you.
your art. Your art just drives it all home. I just
Yeah.
I I
Well,
have
yeah.
a few of your original pieces that now I'm looking around and do I really need a hutch for my desk? Because I could just put a whole bunch of art like
Yeah. I
yours
need
and
to do more. Yeah. I need to do more, and I have someone working on like fiction for Primal Quest, and I want to make illustrations for the fiction and stuff. So yeah, but
very
I can
cool.
I can't do everything. In the beginning, I wanted to do everything. I want to write and do the layouts and do the illustrations, but then each book will take like a year to come out. So I
Mm-hmm.
have to. And then really
Well,
like other people's art a lot. I'm not really such a fan of my own art, but yeah. But I've grown a lot, and someone that really helped me was Joseph Goodman. Uh,
really?
when I showed my art and wasn't good enough for DCC, but he gave me a lot
What?
of pointers, and yeah, but oh, he helped me so much, and I'm really grateful for that. Not saying oh yeah, good, just not publish. He really pointed me and made my art a lot better. So yeah,
Huh.
but I still see other people and see wow they're like so much better than me. And I think everybody has kind of imposter syndrome, right?
Yeah. Yeah,
It's
that's fair.
yeah,
Totally fair.
yeah. And I think in small doses that's kind of healthy because kind of pushes you to you know I'll just try it. I don't know.
As long as you don't listen to it when it gets to the
Yeah,
point of you suck.
it's just a small amount for you not to get too convinced that you're like the best thing out
Hmm.
there and you don't have to make an effort. And just
Yeah.
being not about being not about impartial syndrome, it's about being humble, I guess, knowing that you can always improve and can always learn. I think that's better than saying that it's a small amount needed. No amount is needed. Yeah, for sure. Jen, do you have any we're talking about Harley, but do you have any other like artist or creator or community leader or someone uh, that inspires the way you act in your work or in your life or in podcasts in general?
Oh, geez. That's kind of an open-ended question. Um,
Yeah,
I
like for me, I talk about comedians, for example, that the way they do their work inspire my work. It can be anything from doesn't have to be in the same media or work that you do. It's just the way they approach doing the thing they do.
um, honestly, Mr. Goodman's been a huge source of inspiration and education. I'll say that. There have been many meetings where I'm like, yep, this is the class I signed up for. Thank you. I feel
That's
like
great.
every week I'm still learning something new about this industry, and I think that professionally, he's one of the biggest forces behind that. Partially because, well, job security. Um, I mean, I wouldn't be here at all if it weren't for Bob taking the leap with me, which goes hand in hand with my having taken the leap with him when we moved to Florida. So it's absolute teamwork there. For podcasts, for the community, for everything else, I mean, Joey Royale really brings it home. Joey's Pizza Party is what I think every podcast on the Goodman Games Twitch channel aspires to be Joey's Pizza Party, and will never be there. I mean, it was fantastic at Gen Con. He would just infuse the area with energy. And it didn't matter how bad of a game he had just come from. He would show up to the booth, and all of a sudden, we are just... It was like we were hitting the 2 or 3 o'clock slump, and he would show up, and all of us are just standing around, fully upright, fully energetic, fully revamped, and just the vim and vigor were just totally reamped. Yeah. And it was, I don't know where he stores that kind of energy. I really don't.
But and how he's able to share it with us. Right?
Yeah, I know. I wish I lived closer, because I would just siphon that off and bottle it for those days when you just barely have the energy to get out of bed.
And we always hear about, keep away from vampires that suck your energy. And I never heard about how these people, voluntarily, they give you so much love and energy, and you feel so great and enjoy, and you too are people like this that you make you feel welcome, and then everything will be okay, And the table I played on Gen Con with Joey, that was one of those impromptu tables that was arranged for him. Oh, you're running a table for us. Then he was like, oh, am I? He didn't know, and it was arranged.
That's right. We heard about that after hours party.
Yeah.
And he had such a great time.
Yeah.
And his energy level never flagged, and I seriously envy the man for that. I know part of it was his first time at Gen Con, and it was his first time being surrounded by this family of his. And I totally get that. It was like looking in a mirror from a decade ago. And I love being able to recapture, oh yeah, this is why. And then you're beat up and bruised and exhausted for the next 2 weeks, and you're like, why do I do this? It's cyclical. It just goes back around.
Hey, Warlock Rock, give me a word.
Let's go with coffee.
Dragon Warrior, can you give me a word?
Everyday Tiger Wizard, let's go with Bog Witch.
Awesome. Let's make the swamp hut of the caffeinated Bog Witch together.
What's going to happen in this swamp?
Well, obviously, Trouble is brewing a latte.
Do you love game design and seeing the guts of how RPG adventures are made? Listen to the Epic Levels Mad Dungeon podcast, where guests from the world of role-playing games join us to create original and super fun content for your table.
Hello Weirdos, this is Diogo Nogueira, and I'm back with a word from our sponsors. Me! I just released a new game called Cosmosaurus, in which you play a dinosaur space ranger who protects the galaxy from evil threats such as slime bankers, undead pirates, and Cosmosaurus from a void dimension. It's a game with a runes light system inspired by Forged in the Dark and Lasers and Feelings. It comes with a bunch of tables for you to generate content for it. If you know my games, they're really easy to play and they have tools to help you improvise and play with low prep. It's an ideal game for one-shots, short campaigns, and introducing new people to the hobby, and it's a really perfect family game. I play with my kids all the time. It's a game inspired by Saturday morning cartoons. It's really well illustrated by Lucas Kowalski from Poland, and with a great layout by Guilherme Gontijo. It's a really fun game. You should check it out on Drive-Thru RPG, itch.io, or exclusively in print on exaltedfuner.com. I have many other games there, check them out. All the links are in the show notes, so click there. And let's get back to Weird with our chat.
Yeah, I don't know. For me, this Gen Con was just the medicine that I needed somehow. I was really burned out. I was tired. I was demotivated, and of course, like we're getting used to the routine change that I talked to you in the beginning of the year. So things were starting to settle down, and then I went to Gen Con and I connected with you and everybody again, and I got back, and the routine was settled, and everything just clicked again. I was able to get back to being and working on the things that I love, and still being connected to my family and being present. Because even though, as I said, in the beginning of the year it was hard, I was so exhausted, what was away from all the creative art that I was missing, but I was still able to, enjoy time with my family, and I was happy. I was just super tired, and couldn't even answer emails. Yeah.
So how are you adjusting now? Do you work late at night?
Well, sometimes yes, but I'm trying to switch to being a morning person, trying to go sleep a little bit earlier, to now wake up earlier to do the stuff in the morning, but sometimes the kid will wake up too early, and everything starts to happen in the house. Then I will just stay a little bit later at night. So it's variable, because I have the day job, the kids, and spend time with the wife and doing things at home. And the creative part is like in the nooks and crannies between this stuff. But it's still like I have this space, which is kind of an office with the books and everything.
That's
so
awesome.
It's the small moments of solitude in the nooks and crannies, and then
Yes.
But it's great.
Yes. Oh, that's awesome.
Jane. Yeah. You've just changed the work, like you became this operation coordinator for Goodman Games, and
I know the title's still kind of weird to me too.
Yeah. And what would you say is like the weirdest thing about this work for you?
The weirdest thing. I don't know. I mean, it's all kind of. To me, it's very cool to be on the back end and have a hand in everybody's order going out with love and care, right? The weirdest thing, gosh, I'm having a hard time putting a handle on that.
Yeah.
Okay, no, the weirdest thing,
like your favorite thing.
No. The weirdest thing is that Tom, the owner of Impact Miniatures, has been dropping dice off at my house for the past 2 weeks because I'm closer than Fort Wayne for him.
So you have a lot of dice in the house.
Oh no! The next day, when I get home that night, I just load it into the car, bring it in to work the next morning because it's inventory. It's the next order of 200 or 800 dice tubes that need to get packed into orders, and it's a heck of a lot cheaper for everybody than trying to ship that. Plus, it makes sure that they get there in one piece with no broken tubes, and it's all a concern for these little guys.
Yeah.
So that's probably the weirdest thing.
Yeah, I have a lot of those, and when one of those tubes break, I'm like, oh, we're gonna get another tube.
Okay, the other weird thing is the fact that I work with Chaos Lords, and it's a little disconcerting sometimes.
What is
Those
Chaos
big,
Lords?
the big Chaos Lords, the masks that you saw at Gen Con on display in front of the
Oh,
ziggurats, they are fully wearable.
okay.
And every now and then, there's a whole series on the website of
Yeah.
handing packages off to our friendly USPS carrier, who's a great person to play with.
Yeah.
No, everyone's been pretty receptive out there, and we're still meeting some of our new neighbors, and still, it feels like we're still
Nice.
getting settled in. So, I think the weirdest thing is that we just got a coffee maker this past week. Who knew?
Nice. Yeah, coffee is important, right? Especially at work. I started drinking coffee at work. I used to hate coffee, but I started working in this company, and like every day about 3 p.m., everybody
Mm-hmm.
at the office I work would say, "Oh, let's all stop
Dude,
and go drink a
declining.
coffee," and
Yep.
just drink a coffee, and we'd all go to this room, and you'd have those automated machines that was
Mm-hmm.
free. So I started with like a cappuccino with chocolate and coffee, and then I started drinking coffee. So I'd say, "Oh, do you drink coffee?" And I would say, "Only socially," you know. Now I
That's
drink
awesome.
coffee normally, yeah. But yeah, when a kid I didn't like it was too, I don't know, bitter, you know. But
Yeah.
I started enjoying it as life got bitter. I started enjoying bitter things, you know.
Ouch.
No,
Oh man.
it's a joke, you know. But yeah,
No, we moved with like 3 or 4 bins of booze from the bar and things that had been accumulated and donated throughout the years. And I don't think we've touched any of it since we moved here. We've been here for a few months now because we only drink socially.
yeah,
So,
yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
it's kind of
I
sad.
was well,
I
yeah.
mean,
I
we need to
really
have friends over so we can actually spike our coffee with confidence, I guess, or something.
yeah. I rarely drink uh, alcohol anymore. But yeah, when I go to Jane Combe, always like, oh, let's share beer and stuff. As you said, like
Hmm.
socially, yeah. I do like have to use cannabis for anxiety and stuff, and then I feel better than alcohol with it. Yeah,
Whatever works
uh,
for you. Better living through
yeah,
chemistry, right?
yeah. Well, it's anxiety disorder, and it was one of
Mm-hmm.
the medicines. So
Got to
uh,
keep chemistry on track.
yeah, and it feels good too. So whatever. uh, Jenny, do you have any other hobbies besides role playing games? Do you explore and like about music? Do you still explore this side of you, the
Um,
events you're going, or do you have any other hobbies?
it's kind of sad. I've gotten out of a lot of the musical based uh, collecting and performing hobbies, but I do still have a soft spot for African history studies, specifically
Mm,
like smaller tribes and uh, collecting ethnographical, sorry, and music records. It's a
nice.
very niche thing. I mean, it's
Yeah, yeah.
night and day from like Irish drinking songs, and but uh,
How
no,
did you get into that?
sometimes the brain needs a change.
No.
I
How did
still
you?
absolutely love some of the music we used to perform. I still love the Young Dubliners. I'm still a geek for certain groups and
Yeah,
things. I still love my hair metal because you will never take the late 80s out of me. But uh, no, sometimes you just gotta change your direction once in a while.
yeah. how did you got into the African history studies and as explorer and collecting this? It was yeah.
Oh boy. When I finally made the decision to go back to school at UNLV, there was a professor there teaching Anthropology 101, and I was only able to afford one course per semester at the time. So I took, I think I did the Introduction to Cultural Anthropology, and the professor was 2 years older than me and had been a forensic anthropologist, like doing the CSI sort of thing, helping to figure out crimes and everything. And the job became too wet, he said. The baby in the dumpster was his last, but that's it. So then he went to dead things. He went to things that had been dead for thousands and thousands of years. And has actually, since I have taken any of his courses, published papers on the eating habits of South American peoples in Chile and Argentina based on their dental records. So specific minutia like that. And this guy his name was Dr. Watson, which was another silly little thing for me with my love of all things Sherlockian. And we just bonded so well over it that, okay, I'm going to sign up for his class next semester. I'm going to do this and this and this. And I totally threw myself in the anthropology area because with the ethnological studies and ethnographies from all of these people who had gone to different continents back in the 60s and the 50s and wrote about all of these strange peoples with their strange cultures. I was like, all right, I'm like typical middle-class white kid here, and I'm sick of it. I would really like to explore more things in the world, even though I can't travel. I can afford school, I can't afford the travel fees. So I ended up going that way, and one of the courses that was offered was History of Africa. And I'm in. I was thinking, hey, Egypt, yay, cool. No, it was sub-Saharan post-colonization. So 1790s on. And so you get all the crap. All the, okay, well, Europe divvied it all up, and there was this big splotch in the middle that nobody really wanted, so Belgium claimed the Republic of Congo. And all of the apartheid, all of the sad, all of the yuck, and literature, all of the literature from peoples of the early 1900s. And speaking of the Congo, Patrice Lumumba shared a birthday with me. So that's why I was like, okay, well, I don't know if I really like this book, though. Chinua Achebe's Things Fall Apart hit me on a level I didn't even know I had. And okay, we're sticking with this. And yeah, it's one of the reasons why when we lived in Florida, Disney was always our go-to for a vacation spot. Not to go to the parks, but to go to the Disney's Animal Kingdom Lodge. The primary lodge contained the largest collection of African art outside the continent of Africa. And you could find something new on every floor, in every wing. And besides getting to sit out on your patio and watch the animals play, the giraffes come up to you and blah, 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 that was less important to me at the time. And it just felt like home. So,
Wow.
yeah. And I just went on a long diatribe about African history
It's
and
great.
stuff. Sorry.
It's something that, well, yeah, it's personal. It's weird. It's
It,
authentic. It's something that's
that
connected to you, and
that
made me
is
think
weird. Yeah, you're right.
about the setting that you presented to me in DCC, like the zine for the African fantasy zine that was releasing there,
Oh,
yeah, it's something
yes,
we don't see a lot
Legends.
in DCC. Yeah,
There is a little zine called Legends of Uganda that is in
yeah,
print now. Might actually be available on the Goodman site in the next couple of weeks. Uh, but it came out for Gen Con. It wasn't. The pieces of it are available for $2 a piece for each microzine on Drive Through RPG. But Ashraf Braden lives in Uganda, and through a weird series of events, ended up being like a surrogate kid to me and Bob. And I mean, to the point where at one point there was a question from Ashraf's mother if he could come and live with us. To put it in perspective, the average day's pay where he is in Uganda is $2 a day, and rent is roughly $40 a month. And the sale of any of these zines, even the little $2 numbers on drive-through,
yeah.
have been absolutely life-changing for him. So he's been able to do things like help his sister after an attack, help his mother with her home, and make a start and make a name for himself. And rumor has it he's teamed up with a different third-party publisher for a larger zine effort too. So I'm ecstatic
Fantastic,
about
yeah.
it.
Yeah.
And what we've taken is some of the childhood stories that he was told and that he and his fellow villagers were told. And he writes them out, and we turn around and put stats to some of these things, and I go totally word nerd on everybody and provide a pronunciation guide too.
Nice.
So the digital assets also include Ashraf's personal recordings of these words so that you can also hear them.
Wow, very nice. Yeah.
Yeah, okay, so that's near
Something.
and dear, and that's kind of weird. You're right.
Well, it's unusual and it's authentic. It's weird in a way that I said to you, the team. It's the weird is the new wonderful. It's wonderful. It's personal. It's authentic. It's different.
It's a
Someone would
hidden
say, yeah,
passion. Yes.
yeah. It's not every day that you see someone studying and getting connected to it and meaning something deeply for them. So I think it's nice to talk about this and see how we are all have this kind of stuff in some way connected. Something that I've been thinking, as you said, like the first contact we have with something that connects us really makes an imprint with us. We stick with it. Like the contact you have with DCC through Harley and send you to J Plus and set you in this path of being open. And this professor contact you have, and then set you this path with African history and knowing these cultures and this world that was so different from yours and connected you in some ways. Even if you don't live there, you still feel, as you said, you go to Disney and you feel like home because it speaks to you in a human way. And I think it's beautiful for us to share that and share these experiences
And to tie it
feel
all back
connected.
full circle, to bring it all full circle, um, the year the year that we were heading to Gen Con to finally meet Harley and Brendan in person, it was discovered that both of them had performed at the Renaissance fairs in their areas as well. So
Wow.
this
Yeah.
explains the improv. This explains just so much about, performance capacity. And yeah, I mean, the Renaissance fair world is the size of a grapefruit, really. You can't, you can't turn it over too many times without running into someone else who's part of it. So it's I mean, even some of the people in San Francisco that we started gaming with online during the pandemic. Oh yeah, they're part of the fair contingent out there, and it figures. Yes, it makes perfect sense.
It feels all connected and it feels
Yes.
kind of fate-like. It's feels like
Yes.
fate in a way.
Very much.
Even though I don't believe in that so much, there's some constants in the universe that makes you feel like, yeah, everything is working according to how it was supposed to go. I don't know.
It feels
It's
right.
important. Yeah, it feels right. Yeah.
But I hesitate to use the word content because that breeds complacency, and when
Oh,
you become
yeah.
complacent, that becomes
Yeah,
dangerous. You gotta stay on your toes.
Yeah,
You
of
gotta
course.
keep making it happen.
Yeah. You have to work. You have to do the work you were born here to do. Just
Mm-hmm.
be better. But as you see, because when you don't do anything, those things don't happen. Those happy coincidence won't happen. So
Mm-hmm.
if we're seeing this, it's because we're doing what we're supposed to do, right? I don't remember
Proactive,
all
yes.
the times I was bad and I wasn't feeling good and wasn't doing anything. It never felt like, yes, this is supposed to. Never. Right?
Yeah, it feels like nothing's going to work out for you if you don't
Yeah.
push it along yourself. You
Yeah.
can't expect someone to do it for you.
But it doesn't feel it doesn't feel like when those workouts. And yeah, it's all happening according to there is
Yeah.
something connecting all of this. But when it's everything bad, you don't feel like that. You just feel like, yeah, everything sucks. But it doesn't feel everything connected. I don't know. You don't feel part of something. Not something bigger is screwing me over. It just sucks.
Mm-hmm. It does. And times like that, it's when you really need to remember that there is a family out here for you.
Yeah. The thing you said. Remember why we're doing all of this.
And even a 10-minute Zoom chat with somebody you haven't talked to in forever.
Yeah.
It'll turn into 2 hours, but
Yeah, and that's another thing for me. This podcast is that I remember that ideally you have tried to meet a friend at least once a week to have a coffee, and like, yeah, well, I will have a podcast. I will meet a friend or two friends a week, and we'll talk about things that we love. We'll share
Yeah.
personal stuff, and it's still something that other people can enjoy. But it's almost like everything that I do, I'm doing this for me. Like the podcast, yeah, it's everybody there can enjoy this, but it's ultimately it's for me to
I'm
connect
in
in
love
and get
with this idea. Yes.
those people a little bit more.
If I had more bandwidth, this is a format that I would absolutely take on myself. It's all yours, though.
Yeah.
I don't have the space for it in my brain.
Yeah. Well, as I said, people that inspired me, I kind of stole this from a comedian called Pete Holmes, and he has a show called You Made It Weird, when he invites other comedians, artists, philosophers, writers, and talk about the weird. I have a little bit more focus here. He's way more open-ended, but it's something that's inspired me and made me think a lot about cool stuff. And like here, we have ideas that I wouldn't have if I wasn't talking to you. So I'm always grateful. I always learn so much from people that come here. And this we're talking about this, like remembering things and to be able to do what we have to do and be better people. Always ask people here about maybe spirituality, religion, or even philosophy that helps you guide you through the world, help you be who you are and be the better person that you can be. Do you have anything like this for you?
That hasn't already been covered. I mean,
that thing, like,
it's all subjective, right?
yeah,
Because there are
course.
plenty of people out there that think they're doing a good job at being them. They think they're doing the best for their family and for their community. And from somebody else's point of view, that may not be the case. So it's
But we all are some way. Yeah, we all are some way. Like we are all doing our best. Nobody wakes up in the morning and say, "Yeah, I'm gonna be the worst parents I can be, and the worst, people. When people are doing bad, is because they're bad in some way, right? They're not doing okay. And I remember a couple of years ago that I wasn't doing my best as a father, but I wasn't my best. I wasn't diagnosed with anxiety disorder. It was a pile anxiety, and I had, so in some ways, I like to believe we are all doing the best that we can, but the
Oh,
best that we can
I
sometimes, yeah.
want to believe the best of everybody, and that is absolutely a downfall. I'm also far too cynical sometimes. Like I said, work in progress.
Yeah.
But the difference, Diogo, with you is that if you had a bad day like that, at the end of the day, you would realize it. You would say, "Oh man, I've been rubbish at this. I have to try to be better tomorrow." And it may not
Not
happen,
always.
but at the
Not
end of the
always.
day, you would realize it, right? Yeah.
Not sometimes before. Sometimes you're not aware. Like I've
Oh, yeah.
being
Gotcha.
old, you get so much
Self-aware.
older. Self awareness is not something that
Yeah.
everybody has. But it's something that the Pete Holmes that inspired this podcast. I always say something that if I were you, I would be you. So if I was that person, had the life that they had the problems that they have, and the difficulties that they had, maybe I wasn't. I would do exactly what they are doing. And
That's deep.
I see that. Yeah. I see that because my father is like this kind of far right kind of guy. He's like worship Bolsonaro. He's always seeing like bad stuff, and but I see how he got there. He spends all his time watching YouTube videos, and like there is
Oh.
this great documentary about it was in the USA called my father's brainwashing, and tells stories about various fathers that
Oh.
got into watching some kind of media that my father can't concentrate on a movie or a TV series anymore. He can only watch fast content, YouTube or stuff like this. He's addicted to being angry, uh, because that's what those things do. So I have some, even though I completely disagree with a lot of his thinking and his rationale and blaming. There was this Sunday that I got to his house and I was feeling super super well, and I was taking I was beginning to treat my anxiety with microdose mushrooms. So I was like feeling really good and well and feeling the sun. And I went to my father's house and he was watching YouTube, seeing pirates, African pirates being, shot by the police. So you see poor people, hungry with barely anything. Their ships are like falling down, doing this because they don't have anything else. And his Sunday could he could do anything, watching any movie, any cool thing. He's watching people get shot. What the fuck is that? It's some addiction to punishing, to being right, to punishing the enemy in some way, and it's chemical, and then people study this. It's people get addicted to this kind of stuff. So I even though I hate it, I understand it. If I was in his place, I would do the same thing probably if I got addicted to this.
Yeah, and that's it's kind of an epidemic over here too.
Yeah.
I'll just sum it up that way. Um, there's a lot of people who say, "Oh, you should include everybody, all of your friends and family in your feeds, and don't create the echo chamber." I don't have time for the other stuff.
Can I have just 1 minute? My kid and
Yep.
wife are just anyway. Accent. 1 minute, Jen. Sorry. Ciao. No, je viens. Ciao. Sorry.
Oh,
He's
No worries.
he's good
My
to see a friend in a show here. Yeah. Oh. Well, it happens. It's mostly a podcast. I haven't really put the videos out yet, but maybe one day, or we'll just do the audio with an image. I haven't figured that out yet because I have to sit down and do YouTube, and
oh yeah,
already doing so
yeah.
much, and I'm like, oh yeah, podcast is fine for now.
Hmm.
But what was
Yeah.
asking about is that even you have all these things that help you, like remember why you do this. Uh, the question is, where did you learn that from? Is that some kind of philosophy? Was from a religion, for your parents, or someone that taught you? For me, all these
Um,
things I learned a lot
hmm.
through studying Stoicism. Philosophy that helped me get through anxiety. So that's what I rely on, and was something that is anything that you rely on to learn these things?
I mean, despite being raised very religiously, I don't lean on that as much as my family would like me to. But going back to the pragmatism, I mean, even when my father was sick, it was right before tax time for us, and he said, "Nope, you got to do what you got to do. You got to take care of business." Because I said, "Dad, do you want me to come out?" No, no, you're in the middle of tax time. Okay. Uh, as far as the rest, I mean, it's kind of a conglomeration of actually finding a therapist who gave a shit, a psychiatrist, I should say, because I hit that point after a couple of really dark years that I need help. I would like to stay married. I would like to not have my husband kill me and drop me in a ditch or something. Oh, he'd be far more creative than that, though. But I would like to, have everybody here be happy with their lives. And I need help to do that.
Yeah.
And one step just kind of led to another. I started going back to some of my old habits, like Pilates, which when your body feels better, your brain feels better. And please don't take me for being somebody who's all about this magic stuff, because I haven't rolled out a mat since we moved here. I know I should. I just can't bring myself to do it. So I am not perfect.
Yeah, nobody is. Yeah.
But I've got a decent commute in the mornings, and I've realized that the best way to pass the time is to listen to podcasts and vary it up. Don't just listen to one, and because short attention span theater. So I find the shorter ones, and I take a couple of snippets of dealings with my own family, and like you can't depend on someone to do everything for you. You're an adult. You got to do it. Nobody else is going to
Yeah.
fix this for
Yeah.
you. This is a you problem. You're the only one who can fix it. And I think it also has a lot to do with the fact that I'm an only child, and being so close with my dad the last decade or so of his life that, well, take care of business. He would have friends, colleagues. I remember one time one of his best work buddies uh, killed himself, and I was like, "Oh God, Dad, that's horrible." And he's telling me this over lunch, and he's like, "It is what it is," and he shrugs. I'm like, "That's not healthy. You're allowed to be sad. You're allowed to." Honest to God, the only time I ever saw that man cry is when I told him that I was moving out of state. And that was 20 years ago. It's the only time I saw him shed a tear. And getting closer with his family now and realizing some of his childhood, okay, I get it now.
Yeah.
Like you said about your dad, I see what led him there, and I probably would have been the same exact way. And you bet your ass I'm still going to attend family gatherings and proudly represent, because screw all y'alls.
Yeah.
Little bit of rebellion there. In fact, that's part of what drives me is there are so many people that, okay, in the DCC community, maybe not so much, but in prior endeavors, so many people were just waiting for me to fail. They were waiting for me to screw up. And so I can't really fully kick the idea that that's still out there, right? Perhaps I'm not the perfect person for this position. Perhaps somebody else would be better for it in different aspects. But that little bit of rebellion of, screw you, I'm going to do this. And I'm going to do it right, and I'm going to do it well. And I'm going to use all the resources I have at my disposal to do it, and I'm going to make it happen.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's one of those things that just kind of sits in the back of my psyche.
Yeah. And that's you
Being
learned it from your father.
a professional woman is always hard anyway, right?
You're saying that you learned it through your father, like doing what has to be done no matter what? Is that what you said or no?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter if it sucks, you still got to do it. So, Jen, why haven't you done Pilates since moving out here? Fine, as soon as we're done here.
There is this great book that I read. It's something about this that says, put your ass when your heart wants to be. And it's all about, overcoming this resistance, that thing that keeps us from doing what we want to do. And kind of helped me in
Yeah,
some way.
it's not.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like eating the right foods.
Yeah.
You're an adult. You should be able to make adult decisions on this. You know you feel better when.
Sleeping better.
Yeah. Oh, hush. But, even a kick in the ass is forward momentum. So.
Yeah. And as you said about your never seeing your father cry, and that's something that affects a lot of men. I remember until this day, every time I cry or something, get emotional, I can't help it but say, "Oh, sorry, I'm crying over stuff like this," and yeah, it's stupid.
I'm so sorry.
It's stupid, but it's almost instinctive, and it's something that is changing, and women are teaching men how to feel finally, and then we're teaching our kids that they can feel stuff and not be like this. Yeah.
Honestly, what's the alternative, right?
Push it out now. Push it out.
It's gotta go somewhere.
Yeah.
No, where's it end up though?
Yeah, it's eating you inside. It's
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's exactly the problem.
Yeah.
And some people can channel that healthily, most can't.
Yeah.
I will admit, I am most. I try.
Jen, talking a little bit about more personal experiences with the weird in general, and one thing I ask is, have you ever had any experience with altered states of awareness, be it then through meditation, hypnosis, lucid dreaming, or even psychedelics? And how did it affect you, the way you see the world in some way, or no?
Well, this is where I get to disappoint you and say, no, I've thought about looking into something like that, but it's been a matter of lack of availability in my geographical region. And also I don't know, deep-seated goody two-shoeness. At least on the last part, right?
Yeah.
No, I joke that Bob did all that for me. I'll just ask him if I need to know.
Yeah. Well, I was very, like this good to shoes, and I just experimented with this in a couple of years ago because of anxiety and even meditation. I used to do that, but when I was diagnosed with anxiety, I tried to attack it with all sides. So I tried meditation. I tried psychedelics exercise and everything, and then helped me open my mind to new stuff. And even just walking around this kind of a meditation sometimes, if you're open to it and just feeling uh, the world around you. I try to do that with my son. Just let walk around and just try to hear whatever you can hear, and try to feel like the breeze in your skin or the clothes in your skin, and see if you can feel the different grounds beneath your feet. And that's a kind of mindful meditation that you can do just going somewhere.
That's totally fair. I am still, how do you put it? Kind of a dabbler in meditation and all of that, but I have been off and on for decades, and I never feel like an altered state sort of thing. I might come out of it a little clearer headed, but it's actually a really helpful thing to practice when you have things like asthma or something where, I'm about to go into an attack, and you can calm yourself out of it.
Yeah.
But
it helped me with
otherwise,
anxiety
no.
a lot.
Yeah.
In the altered states, it's for me it happens only once or twice. It's very rare, and especially because you have to have a really long time. But it helps you, perceive reality in some different ways. When, for example, that one of just walking and trying to use your senses, and then try to look through the world as if you're not seeing what you see every day. So you go to the same place, but you take a different path. So you notice a flower you haven't noticed before, or this beautiful house that you haven't noticed that's right to your neighbor, that the colors are so pretty. It's more about seeing what you see every day, but in a different way that you perceive beauty where you haven't perceived it before too, right?
That's fascinating, because that's how I've been looking at my drives in the mornings.
Yeah.
I see something new every time,
Yeah.
and I just kind of relish in it.
Yeah, and that's an effort. You have to really
Oh, I never thought of it
be
that way.
open to that. Yeah,
Oh, hey,
because,
look at you.
well, at least for me, I mean, because of anxiety, and sometimes you're always thinking about all this stuff you have to do. I have to solve this problem, then I have to do this. Oh, but I also have to write that. Oh, the kids have to do this medicine. And sometimes I feel like I'm this cloud of thoughts just controlling this meat puppet around, and and this walking and using the senses and feeling my body and feeling the world helps me, get back on earth again, and being more
Grounded.
present. Yeah, and
Yeah.
notice things I wouldn't have noticed because I'm not here. I'm not seeing through my eyes. I'm just on autopilot. So
Right. Right. That's that's a danger. Yeah.
yeah. Is this natural to you? Ever, like, you notice this, new things every time you go to the work? Are you always that perceptive, that mindful of the present moment,
Um,
or is that
that's
an exercise that you learn to do over time?
No, that's a great question. I think I started it probably the beginning of this year, when I made my mind up that, we made the decision that we were going to relocate. And I started opening myself up to enjoying all of the time spent like outside at our old house. the beautiful sunrises, all of the Floridian flora and fauna, and all of these great experiences that we were having. And I've just kind of taken it with me since then. And I mean, even when we went to San Francisco a couple of times earlier this year, traffic, the same bridge, the same hill. Oh, hey, look, it's this bridge again, always with a smile. And everyone in the car is just like, oh my God, shut up, Jen.
But it's so good. It teaches you. It teaches people to see the good things too. I'm trying to do that because to my son to have a good way to look through things. Otherwise, we just pass by, right?
There was a quote from Voltaire that said, I choose to be in a good mood because it's good for my health. I choose to be happy because it is good for my health. And I know that there are so many things intrinsically wrong with this statement. But on the other hand, it says a lot when you can push your own mindset toward the positive. I mean, even if it doesn't work for the day, I've really been trying, because we all know these people that are completely negative, most of them not in, DCC world, but in life, we all know these negative people that only have complaints. They only want to tell you about the bad stuff. And I always turn around and say, so tell me one good part about your day.
Yeah.
In fact, every trip we take, every single time we go out of town, on the drive back, it's, so what was your favorite part? And it helps you relive the good things. Yeah, we know there were irritations, so-and-so was late for this, or this package didn't come through the way it should have, or, they left this off the pallet, blah, blah, blah. So what was your favorite part? Oh, it was when this couple came back to the booth and the guy was just head over heels, happy as could be, because, yes, you're right, his wife loves the book and she's going to start running the game. All right, my work here is done.
Yeah.
That sort of happy thing, that's what you need to pull forward. You can't dwell on the, the service at this restaurant really sucked.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the food was good. Come on.
Exactly.
Stop fixating on the problems. Please. Yeah. You are dragging everybody down with you. We don't want to be there.
Yeah. It's terrible because it's also something that it's so easy for our brain. There's research that says it's 9 times harder to remember, to keep the good stuff within you than the bad things. So when you think about the day, it's, what happened today? The first thing you think about was the bad stuff that you had to deal with, because you have to deal with that. And there was good things too, but it's harder to remember. So one thing that I started doing a week ago or something, at the end of the day, I write down three things that went my way during the day. It's not like
I love it.
best things or great things that happened to me. Just three things that went my way, that went well for me. Because if we think about my favorite thing, it's sometimes harder to think and really put too much pressure, like the good moments. Just remember the good stuff, the small stuff. It adds up,
Oh yes, most definitely.
And if really something really good things happen, if you at that moment take just a little bit while to internalize that sometimes help you get through, bad time. That is what I try to do. And the things that you talked about, choose to be in a good mood. It's good for my health. That said some bad connotations, but it's also healthful too, because anxiety, exactly that. You're just thinking about bad stuff that can happen, and that's really bad for you. And if you can just concentrating on the stuff that's happening now, that that is certain, and not get preoccupied with the bad stuff that might not even happen.
Oh
It's
yeah, those are the
healthier for
worst.
you, right? And
Those are the worst moments. Yes.
yeah. It's
Yeah.
all about letting go of what you don't control, and just doing the best that you can with what you can, with the way you
hmm
think and the stuff that you do, right? And yeah.
So I got a cheap old model whatever smartwatch thing, uh, mainly so that I could get notified of things like text messages while I'm in the middle of a
Okay.
convention because I never hear my
Yeah.
phone, right? But it also has a stress tracker. And I find it so illuminating to go back at the end of the day and how many times did I spike? Oh,
Oh,
that time. Oh, you know what? That was right before my meeting with so and so. Okay, nope, that makes sense. And
that's great.
then, wait, between 3 and 5, I wasn't driving. I wasn't doing anything exceptionally stressful. What kind of conversation was I having? Who was I talking to around that time? What was I doing? Why did that unnerve me so much? Why did that kick my
Yeah.
adrenaline up so much? And I think self evaluation has
Yeah.
helped a lot.
Yeah, self-knowledge, that's one of the reasons I did the diagnosis process. Everybody was saying, oh, why we're gonna do
Mm-hmm.
this, you're adults, you live it through it. But knowing yourself and being able to know your characteristics and things that might help you because you have this or that issue or characteristic, it's very helpful. And being able to have this tool that you have to being able to go back and see how you dealt with the day and how you maybe do
Well,
better for yourself.
Diogo, it goes
Right?
all the way back to being a Type A person. If you've ever watched The Simpsons, I am Lisa
Yeah.
Simpson. Grade me. Oh my god, I got an F. My life is gonna end. You know that was me
Yeah,
as a kid. And
yeah,
I like to think I'm getting a little better. I'm no longer A plus 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 plus. I've let go a little bit. I've learned how to relax. I've learned how to be a little spontaneous. But you can only plan so much,
yeah,
and
for sure.
it helps to have somebody. It helps to have a partner who is a little bit the opposite of you for things like that to happen,
Yeah.
and you realize you make a really good team together.
Jane, talking about a lot more, some more whimsical and fun questions, and not so serious
Totally.
ones. Do you believe in the supernatural anyway? Like, do you believe in ghosts, aliens, or cryptics, or anything like this?
I
Or have you seen
feel
anything?
oh, I feel like Mulder here from X Files. I want to believe. No, I've had probably one, yeah, just one experience that I can definitively call uh, otherworldly like that. Sleep paralysis with the figure right next to me,
Mm,
and it was it was so funny. We were staying with a friend in San Francisco, and he was in the process of moving. So our last night there was at the other house, the new house. And the minute we walked in, our skin crawled. It just did not feel right. And that night was something else.
wow.
I'm like, all right, thanks for letting us stay with you. We got to go now. It's been a fun
Yeah.
week. Bye.
Does he still live in that house, or did you tell anything else
Um,
about that? Or
yeah, he still lives there. Ironically, it's like right around the corner from his old house, and yeah, we actually looked at buying the old one because it was really awesome. Uh, but California prices. Uh, he is still there, as far as I know. I'm not sure.
any?
I should
Any
ask.
stories about that house after that, or anyone else had that feeling, that weird
Nothing
stuff?
of note, just a general affirmation from he and all of his
Oh
friends
yeah.
that, yeah, something ain't right.
Yeah, that's weird. Yeah, I had some night terror, so this experience that have been half awake and then feeling the presence of stuff. Even though I don't believe it now, I think it's the people say night terrors and stuff. But for when I was a kid, I was like super scared. For me, that was certainly a ghost because it
Oh,
happened exactly the night after like I started telling dead people's jokes.
oh no.
So I think
Oh
some
no.
ghost got offended or something and didn't like that at all.
Oh, oh, for shame.
Yeah. Jen, if you could have any superpower you could
God.
imagine, what would you choose to have, and what would be the first thing you would do with it?
Um, in a perfect world, it would be teleportation without the dissolving of my atoms.
That's a very important addition to teleportation. Yeah.
Yes, yes. I would like to be able to teleport without just creating infinite clones of myself time after time and watering down my DNA. Um, and I would absolutely travel to the West Coast and visit friends slash family who we have not seen in far too long, and they are like intrinsic to our well being.
Yeah. It's a very popular superpower, teleportation. People always want to visit the people we love, right? We always it's a
Oh,
very human thing about being connected to people. I always felt I was comfortable being alone, but the more I learned that I need to have the people I love, the people my tribe near
mhm.
me. I think a lot of people choose teleportation, flying. And it's always about I can see the people I care about, and I think that's beautiful. That's
Well, it sucks because not only does it cost an arm and a leg to travel, it also takes so much damn time.
yeah.
And I mean, I just got to go to the UK for the first time this year, and I had half a day basically of free time.
Wow.
That's it. So,
Wow.
Bruce Cunnington, you know the name. Uh,
Yeah.
Bruce took us around to a couple of places that were within driving distance before we had to go back to the airport and everything. And it was some of the best time I've spent all year. And yeah, if we could do more of that, if we could all get together in one place, even in small groups, more often than just two or three times at big conventions, I think it would do so much more good for our overall anxiety and depression and SADS, especially this time of year with seasonal, what is it,
Yeah.
seasonal uh, affectation disorder. That I don't remember the full term for it, but it's the SAD.
It's a hard season. Yeah, it's a hard season for a lot of people.
Yeah, I've been told to buy a couple sun lamps, and I'm starting to see why. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, it's super important for us to stay connected, even online. I mean,
Yeah.
this seeing your face online is so awesome, and it hasn't happened
Yeah.
in how many? Why am I not running a regular game online on weekends or something, or even like
Yeah.
one evening a week, or maybe some afternoon? Like if I take Thursday afternoon to run a DCC game, I know Mr. Goodman would understand. It,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
but why am I
We
not
need
doing
this.
that?
People, yeah, even maybe for the work. Like if the people at work had like an afternoon to play a game, like once every 2 weeks at least, I think that's really helps for morale. Maybe I don't know. That can help. Unless
Not just at work, but the people that we used to play with all the
yeah,
time during the
yeah,
pandemic.
yeah,
It's yeah, I think we miss a lot of them the most.
yeah. Uh, Jen, another whimsical question is: if you could pick any weird thing from sci-fi, fantasy, or any genre, any media, and you could make that thing real in our world, what would you choose and why? It can be a faction, monster, power, place,
Oh,
anything.
oh, that. Oh, I feel like I needed a forewarning on that one. Um,
The first thing that comes to your mind, like the first thing.
Battle Sisters, sororitas from the uh, yeah,
Battle Sisters?
yes, from oh come on, Jen Brinkman, Warhammer 40K, Dark Heresy. The
Oh,
Sisters of
okay.
Battle were think uh, nuns for the Emperor, but with serious armor and firepower. And my favorite moment from all of those games was in the finale being able to just mow down all the heretics while reciting our litany at them and reading from our words of power and just mowing down the heretics where they stood. I think that needs to happen, in some places.
Yeah. Well, it could be, I don't know, a movie at least or something. I saw the pictures here.
I
Looks
mean,
really badass. Yeah.
and that was the one set they were out of at the Games Workshop factory
Yeah.
when I was in the UK. I was so bummed. I was going to get a set of Battle Sisters, but all they had were the Seraphim, the flying ones. No, sorry, the ones with the jetpacks, basically. No, I'm far more ground based than that.
And finally, Jen, uh, last question is: do you remember the last time you felt really happy and grateful for being here and being alive and everything? And if you can you share with us how was that moment? What was it?
It's going to be really cheesy. Just fair
Yeah,
warning.
those were the best. Yeah, yeah.
Are you looking for the last time I just totally went and like shrieked and stuff like that, or are you looking for the last moment of absolute content?
I don't know what for you. You felt happy and grateful for being alive and being there. Whatever it is, it can be a discrete something that you remember that made an impact on you, and you remember it like last time. Oh yes, I'm really happy. I'm grateful for being here. Yeah.
I'm
Even
yeah,
afterwards, like yeah, I'm really grateful that thing
no,
happened. It was great.
it's crazy and it's silly, but one of the things Bob and I used to love to do was go to the Osborne Family of Lights spectacle, which was at one of the Disney parks, and that made it Christmas, right?
Yeah.
And to the point where one year I was in a car accident and we couldn't really go, and I was in tears because everybody else had lights on their houses and we couldn't even do that. And he picks me up from my MRI that night, and we get home, and our house is absolutely done up, like to the nines, because he had spent all day in the rain putting lights up. And yeah, I came home this week one night and I just stopped because right there on the patio was the Christmas tree, right where we had talked about putting it. He had gone and set everything up, and then we went to a little Street of Lights festival that apparently we're known as Christmas Town, USA. Who knew? And it's like $5 per car or something, but we spent over an hour just driving around looking at all the lights, and it was in the teens. It was really, really cold, so we didn't almost single digits, so we didn't get out of the car, but we just had a grand old time looking at all the Christmas lights. And oh my god, there were dinosaurs. Diogo, there were dinosaurs like in Christmas lights. It was amazing. And
Yeah,
that was like
beautiful. Yeah.
a twofer of just, I am so lucky.
Yeah. Wow, that's beautiful. And almost teared up, and then
Oh,
it's beautiful to see. Yeah, it's because it's beautiful to see. I say that love is work. It's paying attention. It's caring, and doing things for others is a really great gesture of love. That's something I always try to teach it to my kids. And like
just don't
presents
go
are
to
things
the
we buy.
effects. Don't go to the lengths that you get pneumonia for it afterwards. Okay.
Oh yeah. I mean, here it's too warm. Like it's
Yeah.
yeah. We don't have this thing here. But
Yeah.
yeah, beautiful. Thank you so much for sharing this, and
Diogo,
shows a
don't
really
ever.
great example of relationship, and
Thank you.
how we can pay attention to one another, and doing things, small things. I try to do that. My wife loves this chocolate, and sometimes any day I go to the street, and I have a just a small something small and
Mm-hmm.
unexpected. This is a lot more than big things in the dates. Remember what I
Yes.
said about consistency is way more important than intensity, and same thing for relationships. Instead of waiting like for the big days and doing great things, only you know, the consist of doing small things, you know, here and there. I think it's way more beautiful and impactful than just waiting for the big moments, right?
And
I
I'm
don't know.
actually scribbling down that quote. Thank you.
Jane,
And I would say the one thing for you, Diogo, don't ever stop believing that you are the lucky one in your relationship.
yeah, yeah,
If we fight over
yeah,
anything, that's what we fight over. Who gets to be the lucky one for the day?
yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm so grateful, and I learned so much, and yeah, we're really lucky, and I think I don't know. I think everybody is, if we stop about it and think about it, and but yeah, I'm so grateful every day. Like there was another day, like we hug it, and I hug it for a little longer, a little bit stronger. And why did you hold up so much? And I said just to remember, and because I don't know, Stoicism says about like we can lose everything all the time. So and I don't know if that's
Oh, yeah.
anxiety or Stoicism. So that's like yeah, I will remember this because I know
That's a huge anxiety point for me. Yes.
yeah,
Anytime he
maybe
leaves the
tomorrow I
house, I
won't have
worry.
this. Yeah. Not about worrying. It's about just enjoy here because I know we
Yeah.
all know everything's gonna end, right? But
Mm-hmm.
uh, I'm trying to not see that as anxiety. Just say, no, let just enjoy this right here as much as I can, and not take it for granted that yeah, I can do this
Exactly.
tomorrow, because might not be tomorrow for any number of reasons, and I don't have to think about those reasons. Just enjoy today. That's the most
Mm-hmm.
important. Just enjoy today as much as you can, being responsible too, right? No, but don't take it for granted.
That's a
Yeah,
perfect note
yeah,
for everybody.
yeah. And Jen, that is the show. All my questions. I know I took a little bit more than 2 hours, but I'm so grateful for you being here and sharing your
Well,
stories, your
thank you for letting me
personal life,
ramble.
and your wisdom, and being the incredible person that you are, the community leader that you are, the as you said, the kind of mother to this community, and being so welcome, and being an example for everybody to follow, and
Oh, don't put
that's
that
it.
much stress on me.
Yeah, sorry. But Jen, do you have any message you want to send out to the readers out there that are listening to us before we go?
To the weirdos out there. Uh, I mean, we love you all. You are my family.
Yeah, Yeah, we and my family too. And thank you so much for being here. Can you take us out saying like the catchphrase of the show, like saying "Keep it weird, everybody"?
Keep it weird, everybody.
Thank you for listening to Weird Games and Weirder People. If you'd like to keep up with the show, please subscribe to be notified when we release new episodes. If you'd like to support us, please leave a review or head on to code-fi.com/WGNWP. See you next time, and remember, weird is the new wonderful.